What's up, everybody, and welcome to Weekday Wagers Live on a Friday afternoon. It's the second day of January. It's the second show of the entire new year. Yesterday's show was a banger. Let's take a look back real quick at how they did yesterday, talking about the Preds, which is Robbie's team, comes through late in a power play goal. But then the point parlay from Robbie did not do so well. But a one-on-one day, plus 100 means we didn't lose money because that plus 143, I'd imagine not as many people play a full unit. So I'd assume we still make some money somehow, some way. But today on the show, we're talking about those Hoosiers. Yeah, we're talking about all of college football as we discuss and honestly break down what was of the 4 playoff games in college football. And we're going to go ahead and look ahead at the games that are out there. Our first looks, just the initial looks. And then, as always, we'll get our 12-pack of plays. We'll break down the playoff scenarios for the NFL, which is mind-boggling in the AFC. And we're going to exactly show you why that is. And then to end the show, we'll let you shoot your shot with us as we try to get into the saloon. We're going to give our first touchdown plays. Go ahead to be 1 plus 1,000 or higher. So make sure you go ahead and get those in the chat as always. But that's all we got. Let's go ahead and bring in the fellas already. And Robbie, man, how are you?
Hey, DG, doing great. First Friday show of the new year, so I'm pumped for this one.
It's going to be good, and everybody's already filing into the chat. Always love seeing that. Marky Model, what's up, man?
Guys, listen, it is the first show of 2026. I'm excited. We're going to have a huge year, and it starts today.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and look at the games that happened this past week, because we did have Miami, Robbie, that took down Ohio State. That was shocking for me. Was that shocking to you?
It wasn't. I was telling Mark yesterday, I wish I had been on the show with y'all because I think I would have went the other way. I wouldn't have picked Miami to win, but I would have picked them to at least cover. That defensive line is just nasty. The only thing that's going to get Miami's way of winning all this is Mario Cristobal. I don't trust him as a head coach to win it if it's close. But no, it really didn't, especially with how the first-round buys always go. I think Alabama set a new record. They're the first team to lose to a team who had a first-round buy. So congrats, Crimson Tide.
Well, Alabama sucks. Let's talk about Alabama a little bit more as we go to Indiana. And then Indiana, Mark, they dominated Alabama from the very get-go.
Listen, Indiana got the memo, right, of don't pull an OSU. And they went out there and they handled their business. I think the domination from beginning to end absolutely set the tone for the rest of the playoffs. I think the championship right now is Indiana's to lose.
Ooh, I love hearing that. Robbie, looking back at the first game of Saturday, we had Oregon and Texas Tech. Everybody was on Texas Tech. Like, the line was 2.5 in favor of Oregon. And as we got closer and closer to kickoff, it became a pick 'em, and then even had a -1 show up the very last line before the game kicked off, and that was in the favor of Texas Tech. So everybody was money heavy on Texas Tech. They still haven't scored, Robbie. 23-0 by Oregon. Your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I think it has to do with Oregon's start time, right? They don't play well on those early morning games. I know I was on the losing side of picking them to dominate somebody early in the year in just the first half, and they couldn't do it. So I think that played into it. Also, Texas Tech was a good team coming into that playoff game, but now Oregon asserted their dominance, and Texas Tech has to go back to the Big 12 with nothing to show for it.
All right, we'll talk about the last game. Ole Miss somehow, some way comes back. They end up winning that game, and in all transparency, Mark, I fell asleep, but I saw the text messages. I had 27 or 37 from you two knuckleheads when I woke up in the morning. I saw literally very little of that game. So bring me up to speed like I'm a ding-dong. What happened?
Well, listen, Georgia apparently fell asleep along with you during the Ohio State game and didn't get their memo simply because, look, they came out in that first half and looked horrible. They completely dysfunctional. They had no offense. They couldn't get any sort of rhythm, any sort of ball movement going. The second half, they came out and they started to mount a comeback. I'd be interested to hear Robbie's take on what happened, especially from a coaching standpoint, because the last 3 minutes of that game was just absolute. I'm screaming at the TV.
Rob?
Yeah. I mean, Kirby Smart usually doesn't make those bonehead decisions, but he made a few. And I don't care what you say, the refs tried their damnedest to give Georgia that win there towards the end. And it still didn't fall through. But credit to Ole Miss. Some teams get in like, we'll just play for overtime. We'll be conservative. And they said, hell no, we're going to go for it. And Chambliss threw an absolute dot. And they got him down there, got him in field goal range and kicked that game-winning field goal. And then there were shenanigans. Now I turned it off after that. But apparently they still tried to have shenanigans, giving Georgia a chance to come back even after the game was over. But no, man, congrats to Ole Miss and way to not be conservative. That's how you beat Georgia. You don't be conservative.
Right.
You stomp on their head and put them away.
Look, if you turned it off, you guys, and DG, you were asleep. You missed the craziest ass play I have ever seen. Georgia gets the ensuing kickoff. They start to lateral and get real crazy with it. They make one lateral pass. It rolls out of the end zone for a safety with 1 second left. Now they have to free kick the ball back to Ole Miss, which they try an onside free kick. First time I've ever seen that before in my life. And it goes nowhere. But it was absolutely madness. I mean, they came out with the stage already on the field, the trophy and everything. They're rolling it all out. The confetti's already gone off, and the ref has to come out and say, no, we got 1 more second. We need to free kick it. It was absolutely nuts.
That is nuts. And I even saw that somebody had at one point said that they were that they took Georgia at one point plus 4.5 live line, and it was a 3-point game, and all of a sudden that whatever that safety was from the laterals ended up having a 5-point win for Ole Miss, which is it was crazy that you could actually lose that close. So we'll see. But yeah, that is a crazy end to that game. But let's go ahead and talk about the games that are upcoming. Robbie, I'm gonna start with you on this one. Miami, Ole Miss. You were obviously high on Miami, and so now playing Ole Miss, it's going to be the Verbo Fiesta Bowl, and right now Miami is favored by 3. Your initial thoughts on that matchup?
What's the total at? Do you have the total?
51.5.
Oh, okay.
And this game,
I was going to
say
it's on Thursday. Okay, I'm going to roll with Miami. I'm still going to roll with them. I've liked Ruben Bain since last year. I think he is one of the best players in the NFL draft. I was telling Mark yesterday, I don't know what Dallas needs to do to try to grab him up to shore up the defensive line, but I think there's a possibility with you having 2 first-round picks that we could get him. I really, really like Ruben Bain. Again, the only thing that would scare me about putting money on Miami, especially the spread, is Mario Cristobal. You're talking about a guy who I think it was last season or season before. All he had to do was take a knee and kneel it down, and the dummy ran it, fumbled it, and they ended up losing to Georgia Tech. So that guy scares me when the game's on the line.
Mark, your thoughts about that game?
Yeah, actually, I like the over here, right? We've already done the model projections for both these games, and the model projection on this one is at 55.1 points. I think we do see a lot of scoring. One thing that we saw in the Miami game, Miami can put up points. I mean, that offense is legit. Ole Miss put up a ton of points against the Georgia team that was supposedly had a solid defense. I think we could see a lot of scoring in this one. Both teams at this point are feeling very confident about being able to move the ball. I love the over.
All right, well, let's go to the next game, Oregon and Indiana. You know how much I love Indiana here, but they are a 4-point favorite. The line looks to be at 47.5 for the total. And so this is a Friday matchup in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Robbie, your thoughts on this game?
DG, they played each other once this year, right?
Correct.
Oregon and Indiana. And Indiana won that game. And it was a close one, I think, right?
Correct.
So Dan Lanning is another one that I don't know how easy it can be to beat him twice in the season. I think I think this could be Indiana's toughest matchup to get to the championship. I know it's of course it is. It's their next game. But to actually win the championship, I think this is going to be their toughest matchup compared to the other teams on the other side. I think this should be the game that should decide the winner of the championship. Whoever wins this game is my pick to win it all.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. This is the national championship game, right? I mean, whoever is going to get sacrificed to the winner of this game in that championship game is, it's a formality. I just think that again, the model has this thing going over, and I agree with it. I think that both of these teams can score. They both have decent defenses. But when faced with elite offenses, they haven't been able to slow teams down the way that they normally do against weaker opponents. I love the over to hit in this one.
All right.
Two
Well,
Heisman quarterbacks too, or two Heisman, one Heisman
Right.
winner and another one was as a finalist. So I think you're right on with the over. I love that play as well.
Yeah, if you look at the way this game played out, it was a 30-20 win by Indiana. It was at Oregon, which is a key factor in this, in my opinion. Like having to go to Eugene and actually win that game by 10 is clutch. But if you look all the way back to the fourth quarter, with 12:42 to go in the game, they scored a touchdown. Oregon did, so it was 20-20, and from that point on, it was a touchdown and a field goal to give up 10 points to lead them, Indiana, to that 10-point victory. So it was going into the fourth quarter, roughly. You're talking about 12 minutes to go. It was a tied game, 20-20. So right there on that line of the 47.5, I like the over there, yes. But I also think this is a close game. That 4 scares me. I think this could be a field goal game. I think it could be a 10-point victory. I still think Indiana wins in the end. We'll see how this whole thing plays out. But scale of 1 to 10.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go ahead and get your opinions on this. And Mark, if you got anything else, go ahead. But scale of 1 to 10, your thoughts on the college football, let's say all of it so far. 1 to 10, like how excited are you, liking it, loving it? What are you at, Robbie?
A 4, and that's just
Nothing.
because that game last night was awesome. I mean, look at who you've had. You've had JMU and Tulane get throttled. You had belts to ass yesterday with Alabama getting beat down. I mean, the games haven't been fun. That game last night was the funnest game of the college football playoff for me.
Well, I didn't see it, so I don't know what you're talking about, Mark.
And that should tell you you didn't even watch it.
I think from an excitement factor, yes, we've had nothing but blowouts, and then we had a really close competitive game that kind of got a little bonkers last night. I think Oregon, Indiana is going to be that game that everybody is looking for in the playoffs. I actually think that this could be a tied game going into the fourth and actually be a game that sees overtime, which is why I really am all over the over here. I think the playoffs have been a little lackluster, and maybe that's a seeding thing. But again, you're trying to get the best 2 teams into the national championship game.
Yeah.
There's going to be some blowouts. I think the answer here is to expand it and bring in some more teams, extend it out, and continue this so that you get those exciting games. You get more excitement. You're not getting these blowouts.
Right. Well,
to your point, DJ, I'll ask you this too. Do y'all think that they do away with buys, or they only have a 1-week buy when they expand it instead of this 3 weeks layover? That, I mean, they're 20-year-olds, right? They got a lot.
right.
That's a lot to have to tell a 20-year-old, hey, you're in season, you're grinding. Here's 3 weeks off, and then you got to come back and get right back into that mode. I know they're getting paid, but at the end of the day, they're still 20.
Yeah, so I think that's what I would change. Is I would change the big buys and everything. If you want to give the first team 1 week of a buy, I think that is very much just due. But I think they need to start and move that Army-Navy game to Friday night. Have that be the Friday night spectacle, like under the lights, that would be awesome. And then it's like the appetizer to Saturday. And if you want to expand the playoffs, cool. But like that next week, you're already in the play, just like the NFL does it. They're already in the playoffs, right? And so it keeps the momentum. What happened? What I think your 4, Robbie, is just due. But I also think that just kills it, because literally, like, you get to the point of like it's just dead after 3 weeks, and then we finally start seeing football again, like real football. You can sprinkle in these other bowl games, put them on a Thursday, put them on another Friday. You put it on a Tuesday. Nobody cares about this stuff. Leave it all, honestly, put it all for Christmas week and the week after. If you're really wanting to put content out there when everybody has a chance to watch a noon game between Tulsa and, I don't know, Texas State, or Rice and Texas State, like we see right now, that's 10-0. Like, I don't think it matters. So I agree. I would change it. And I think Dan Letting said it the other day about having the actual national championship game on January the 1st. That would be like a celebration, but honestly, and almost keeps it all to a full year, like 2025 with 1 year over. So 1 day over. That's kind of how I would look at it. Mark?
And do you think that by switching it to that kind of a January 1st format, what does that do then for teams in players staying with teams because they still have time to get into the portal after those games. And I think that that's huge when you have a portal system now that really does affect the outcome of these games, right? I mean, trying to adjust for player opting out is insane.
Yeah. Robbie, final thoughts.
That's a whole other conversation on that's the whole portal mess. I've always been in favor of moving up the season a few weeks anyway, because everybody gets really pumped for the first season of college football. Then there's a like Labor Day, and then it's NFL and college. Move it up a few weeks if you want to make this work. I mean, nobody's going to complain about getting college football early in August instead of later in August.
Yeah, I agree. And I think at the end of the day, I think doing all that would make it more exciting. I think they're going to have to trial by fire. I think we're in the fire right now. And eventually it comes out smelling like roses, like the Rose Bowl yesterday for them Hoosiers. Somehow I got it back to the Hoosiers. All right, Robbie, you got plays on Friday. Let's not letting people talk about, and waste any more time. Let's go ahead and start you off with your Friday. You got 2 plays from the ice.
Yeah, man, tonight is the Winter Classic, and I know everybody's big into the college football playoff, but this is a game that I'm excited for. I'm kind of low-key love the Florida Panthers just because I've won so much money off them, and they always beat the Oilers in the Stanley Cup. But tonight, we're going to go Carter Verhaeghe of the Panthers to get a point at -105. And the reason for this is he's on a line with Sam Bennett and Brad Marchand, 2 guys who have been absolutely lighting it up. It's Carter's first game in a Winter Classic. He grew up in Canada. He grew up watching this, and he never thought he would get a chance to play because, of course, he plays in Florida. So I really like this spot tonight. He has 2 goals in his last 3 games against the Rangers and 10 points overall in his last 10. It's been quiet in his last 5 games, not putting up a point, but I think this is a great spot to target Carter Verhaeghe. Secondly, we're going to go to the first line of the Florida Panthers. I'm going to take Anton Lundell 1+ point at -113. He's on a line with Sam Reinhart and Ito Luostarinen, 2 guys that have been this line has been lighting it up for the Panthers. And anytime you have Reinhart on your line, there's always a great opportunity to get a point. I think this top line does some damage. Anton and Luostarinen both have goals in 4 straight against the Rangers. I think they make it 5 straight tonight.
All right, let's go to the association real quick, and I'm going to go with 2 first half looks right here. And the reason is I love the first quarters, but if you look at our stats on our side, we're seeing the numbers. The first halves have been cashing on a much bigger level. And so I'm going to start off with the Nuggets and the Cavs, and it's going to go the first half over the 112.5. It's at -105. And the reason I'm liking this is, one, the model has it at 123.6. But also Denver is now without the Joker, but also Jonas Valanciunas. They're going to play much faster, in my opinion. And so because of the fast pace of this game, because Cleveland has been a good partner with them in scoring, I think this goes over in the first half of 112.5. And then the other one I like the most is the Hornets and the Bucks. First half over 112.5 at -115. Just looking at these, I just think that these teams, you now have Giannis coming back. There is no Knibbel, which is fine. That team still plays well enough. The model has it at 122.2. And so any team that matches up with the Hornets always is a good dance partner in the fact of going over this number. So I love the Hornets and the Bucks tonight going over this first half number of 112.5. Marky Mark.
Hey, we're talking Vegas, baby. That's right. And this one starts off at 3 o'clock this afternoon, Eastern Standard Time. So you got about 40 minutes to get this one in. We're going to take the Golden Knights on the 3-way money line at +105. Look, this is a great buy low spot on a Vegas team that is really struggling to play some decent hockey over the last week. They're 0-2-1 in their last 3 games. And I'm expecting a huge response from them on the road in St. Louis against a horrible St. Louis Blues team. Yes, the Blues they're 1-3 over their last 4 games, but they've been outscored 16-7 over that stretch, which really lines up with what they've been doing all season. I expect Vegas to get back on track. That's what good teams do, especially in an early game where they get to get going and get things moving. Yes, it adjusts the timing, but that's where the depth of a Vegas team kicks in. I love this spot for Vegas on the 3-way money line or the 60-minute money line, depending on which book you're using. And then we are going with another power play goal. We're going to go with the Vancouver Canucks to get a power play goal. They're playing the Seattle Kraken. You want to know how bad the Kraken's power play kill unit is? They're bad in general, but when they're on the road, they have the second worst power play kill in the league. How bad is their power play? Well, they gave up 1 goal to the Nashville Predators last night, and that 1 goal came on the power play. 5-on-5, they played decent hockey. They're playing really decent defensive hockey 5-on-5. You put them at a man disadvantage, and all hell breaks loose. Teams have been scoring power play goals. Get this one in. It's at -120, and we'll score another power play goal.
All right, let's go ahead and get Robbie back here. And I think, Robbie, you've been lagging a little bit, but I think you're good now.
Okay. I didn't see it on my end. I closed
Okay.
a few things down that were important before, so they're out of the way now. So maybe we're good to go.
All good.
And yes, Joe, I wish I could go to Vegas. I know I would end up in jail in Vegas, but if you got the money, you can bail me out.
All right, let's go through some of these because we have a lot of questions. One, Scotty's asking if you can continue to keep putting in saloon shots. Well, why not at this point? Just keep rolling with it. Dodge likes OKC first quarter -3.5. OKC is playing the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
Mark, you like that at all?
Actually, I'm on Golden State for the full game at -8.5. I think that Draymond Green is out for the Warriors, and Steph Curry is listed as questionable, probably doubtful.
Okay.
I think that this could be a spot where Golden State is like, listen, this is a throwaway game. Just let it happen. Why? Oklahoma's that good. I mean, we heard you on New Year's Eve giving the flowers to OKC, which was probably one of the best moments. If I had to go back and rank best moments on the show, watching you suffer through that. But in all seriousness, I think that this is a spot where OKC can just blow the doors off of a Warriors team that's throwing this one in.
All right, so that could be. And at first, you were talking about how you like the Warriors. I was like, wait, hold on. All right, so you love the OKC in this game, whether it is even first quarter or the full game. Either way, you like both of them, but you're thinking the safer play would be the whole game, in your opinion, right?
Yeah, I do. I think what happens, especially with if Curry is out, I love first quarter, first half, full game, however you want to attack this thing.
Yeah.
I just don't think that Golden State can hang with the OKC at this point.
All right. Anybody want this one? Panthers money line at -144. And that's got to be Carolina, right?
Florida
Florida.
Florida Panthers.
Yeah, yes. That's in the hockey game tonight, the outdoor ice.
I'm glad I asked. I was thinking Carolina. Whatever.
Wrong league. That's all right.
All right. Well, all right. Let's go to Sky Joe. I've got a question. And this is probably one for me and Mark, but I don't know if I know this or want to feel comfortable. Do you like field goals over 33 yards for both teams in the Seahawks 49ers game? Mark,
first of all, I'm always down for long field goals. So to answer your question, yes, I like field goals over 33 yards. I think when they're inside 33 yards, they're just chip shots.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. That's not the question.
I would say Pinheiro has been really good, in my opinion, and he obviously can keep it deep. Even Robbie knows about Eddie Pinheiro for sure, but also Jason Myers for the Seahawks. I like both. I think because this is honestly, both teams are going to be trying to win. And this is a Saturday game. What else have we got to do? I do like it. I don't have any plays, just a little transparent. I have no plays on field goals because it scares me to death. Yeah. About one, the weather is a little, makes me worried. And I saw the numbers for last week, and they were disgusting with field goals. So I don't know who cares. I don't know who's going to try. I don't know if they're going to take the points or not. So I'm staying away for field goals just in general. Mark, safe play. Should he play that? Should Scotty Tuati play that?
Especially in this game where everything matters, right? I would say if you're going to play a field goal prop, this is the game to do it because they're not going to get super uber aggressive on fourth down, right? If they're within range, they're going to try a field goal because there's so much riding this, right? There's so much on the line for this one game. Everything else on the schedule, oh my God. I would be surprised if we saw field goal kickers take the field.
Okay.
Yeah. Baltimore and Pittsburgh. That's the only other game I would look at for field goals. It'd be Baltimore and Pittsburgh.
Yeah. And I thought about that, and I even looked those numbers, and they worry me as well. So,
because we're looking at two outdoor venues,
right?
Which always changes the perspective. So yeah, I think again, between the two, I like the Seahawks 49ers for that prop.
I do too, and it's in San Francisco. Should be decent weather, so better weather than either in Baltimore or Pittsburgh. I don't even know which one they're playing in, but yeah, either way, doesn't matter. All right, let's go to the NBA real quick, and I have this one looking at Jalen Johnson over 32.5 points and rebounds. I haven't looked at it until literally right now. I'm trying to look at it, but Trae Young is supposed to be coming back if he's not already back. He had 34 points last game. Jalen Johnson did, because obviously we do not have we haven't had Trae there, and so maybe that's helping him being a better facilitator and able to respond. So 10 rebounds, 34 points last game. Against the Knicks, he's not played well. He had 20 and 9 last time, but that still gets us over, right? It wouldn't get us over the 32.5. It's just a big number. I like Jalen Johnson. I'm going to be very biased, but I think that this is a good game, but I can't play these big numbers. I can't. I'm not made for that. So I don't know how anybody else thinks. But Mark, do you like Jalen Brunson? So the battle of the Jalen Brunson scoring 30 points tonight.
Look, I think that, to your point, right, that takes a special level of person, caliber of person to jump in and say, yeah, this guy's hitting over 30 points tonight. And because there's so many different things that could affect the outcome of that the under hits. I mean, there's more ways for the under to hit in my mind than for the over to hit. And I think that if a way that I might look at this is go to DraftKings to see if you can't get a combined points between the two, and play a combined points way to attack this instead of an individual either or.
Yeah, if you can find 50, that's a smash. 60 would scare the hell out of me, but 50 would be a smash.
Yeah. I don't know how you guys bet those huge numbers, especially when it could be the National Blowout Association on any night
100%.
of the week. I understand that much about NBA.
Yeah. All right, last one. This is an NBA one. Conn Gillespie over 14.5 points at -115. Mark, how many hammers do we have here?
We got 2 hammers.
All right, so we like this a lot then, right?
This is I'd like this play. This is not your Mega Mortal Whale Max, triple mortgage and the grandchildren's education fund on this thing. This is a Happy New Year. What do you think? And by the way, Cheesy, listen, I would think you would have come into the chat today with that. Hey, you know what, Mark? You're right. I'm 0-2 against the model. I don't forget, man. I don't forget.
Well,
I also wore a Jason Williams jersey for you, Cheese, and didn't see you in the chat that day. Totally missed it, man.
Well, I do see that Joe is over here like begging. Like Joe's just over here begging because he's been so bad. He's like, maybe Cheesy can help me break my slump. And even Joe suggested, and Rob, I'm going to ask you this. Is this smart? He said 2 units on all these bets. He's cold, never been so ice cold, needs to turn around.
I say follow bankroll management and practice good bankroll management.
Oh, BS. Parlay all of these picks. Roll them into one.
All right, let's get to the NFL real quick. And we're going to look at these. And if you can see them on the screen, I've tried to make it as big as possible. Let's start with the NFC. And Rob, I'll start with you first. So we're looking at just Seattle, right? This is an easy one. They can clinch an NFC West title and then the number 1 seed, which comes with a first-round bye, home field advantage. They just need a win. Do we feel good about Seattle? They're playing San Francisco. Is that just very simple, right? Very clean?
We absolutely do not feel good about Seattle because Sam Darnold will see ghosts. And he's going to see them at Candlestick Park, and the Niners are going to win because there's no way the Niners should be in this position with all the injuries and all the BS they've dealt with. But here we are. And then Dallas has a 4,000-yard passer, 2,000-yard wide receivers, and a 1,000-yard running back. Can't even sniff the playoffs. So, yes, San Francisco was going to win.
You know what? I can't believe you just tried to roll Dak into this conversation when they haven't seen the playoffs in God knows how long. The Seahawks are going to win this game, period. End of story. I think that San Francisco's defense, they can't stop anybody from doing anything that they want to do. The only thing that has San Francisco still in this is that they have been able to score. But when you look at teams that they played, right? I mean, in the last 3-4 games, you're looking at Chicago Bears. Okay, I'll give them that, a solid team. Indianapolis, Tennessee, Cleveland. They're beating them on the teams that they should be. I just don't think that they're faced a Seahawks defense. And whether Darnold sees ghosts or not, it's the Seahawks defense that will ultimately prevail.
Well, I'm just going to listen to Joe, and he says, do not take Seattle, people. Like, I don't know if that's on you, Mark, or if that's just in general about ghost. But yes, Joe agrees with Rob here. But he's also asking, it's a split decision. No, it's not. It's just the guys disagreeing, which is great.
And you know what, Joe? That could be why you're so damn ice cold lately. Take some good advice.
Damn. All right, let's go to the other game. So pretty much it's San Francisco, Seattle. Whoever wins the division. But the only other thing is they also win the number 1 seed, correct?
Yes.
Yes, if the Niners win, they're the number 1 seed. And yeah, if Seattle wins, they're the number 1 seed.
Very clean. You win the division, you win the number 1 seed. Great. All right. So let's go to the other one. So Tampa Bay can win the NFC South, but they need to win. Plus, Atlanta has to lose. Carolina on the other side, they literally can just either win or they can have Atlanta win. So Carolina has 2 shots at this. Rob, how do you feel about this? Do you think Carolina ends up winning the division because either they win or Atlanta wins?
I think they win the division because Atlanta will win, because they're facing a Saints team this weekend who their best wide receiver is Jawan Johnson. By the way, he's a tight end. And the second best wide receiver is Taysom Hill, also tight end / quarterback / whatever. Their best running back's like a 3rd or 4th string running back. Did y'all see what Atlanta did on Monday night? I think Atlanta hammers New Orleans, and it doesn't matter about this game.
Wow. Mark, you feel the same way?
Look, I think that Carolina wins and clinches the NFC South. There is zero way you will ever get me to trust Tampa Bay at this point in the season after what they have gone through the last 6 weeks. That's ridiculous. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually lose this game. So I do think that we ultimately see Carolina clinch the NFC South.
While we're on this, does the head coach Todd Bowles, does his coaching job kind of weigh in on this at all? Because a lot of the chatter's been the locker room.
Yeah,
a lot of the chatter's been the locker room's pretty dysfunctional. I mean, he's a great coach. I mean, obviously, but there's been some chatter, man, that the locker room isn't so cohesive right now. So I'm wondering if they don't make it, if any of that talk starts ramping up.
Yeah, it's been a weird season.
I would just say that after the last 6 games, and you see the action, just the total implosion of a Buccaneers team that was, you talk about fighting injuries all season long, right? They didn't have a wide receiver core. They didn't have a running back room to speak of. And then Baker Mayfield hurts his shoulder. As soon as all those guys come back, they have been struggling with injuries, but ultimately they've got everybody in a spot where they should be winning. And it's the way that they've lost games at the end. Yeah. It's been on not the offensive front, the defensive front. Just horrible defense. To say he wouldn't be on the hot seat, I think would be irresponsible.
All right. Well, I think Joe agrees with you. He should be done. And so I just don't understand what I think is going to happen, and to completely, be done with this NFC, because it is a little bit better and easier to understand than the AFC. So you're going to need a lot to get in depth in the AFC. I think that we see a Tampa Bay win on Saturday, and then Sunday, all of a sudden the Falcons rise up and beat the Saints.
Look.
And that ends up just crushing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
When you say Atlanta rise up to beat the Saints, I mean, literally that's sitting up in bed. Okay. They don't have to rise up that far. The bar's not that high when it comes to the Saints. So that's why I don't think Tampa, there's more paths to Tampa Bay not making or not clinching than there are for Tampa Bay to clinch.
All right, let's go to the AFC.
New Orleans is going to win on Sunday after we done give Atlanta their flowers. New Orleans is definitely winning on Sunday.
Yeah. Fade Mark or fading Mark. All right, let's go to the AFC. And this is pretty simple here. We're not gonna go too in depth, but either Denver or New England. has potential to be the number 1 seed. We also can see Jacksonville, but that would take losses from both Denver and New England. I think that with the odds, in my opinion, are that one of these two, whether it's Denver or New England, wins. If Denver wins, they're the number 1 seed. If they lose and New England wins, then that means that New England's the number 1 seed. So I'm going to go ahead and go past that because there's no reason to spend too much time on that. Jacksonville, they don't have anything to play for the most part, other than just trying to win that way in case these other two do. But Jacksonville could also, they can win the AFC South Division, whether they win or they can have Houston lose. And so I don't think that there's much about that. But let's go ahead and go to the Pittsburgh and Baltimore part, because I think that's the most interesting one. Pittsburgh and Baltimore, the winner makes the playoffs. The loser pretty much is out of the playoffs. I don't think there is a way that they can make it in at this point. So we're talking about Pittsburgh, Baltimore. I haven't even looked at the line on that game. Robbie, how do you feel this game goes?
Sloppy, ugly. I would say all Derrick Henry, but TJ Watt may be back. I know that he's been limited this week. He's been practicing. If he's back and healthy, because I looked at Derrick Henry last night. His numbers are crazy high. But the TJ Watt aspect scares me, especially if he's healthy, because that Pittsburgh defense has completely changed when he's in. So I think it's a low-scoring game. I think it's an ugly game. Talking about field goals, like I said, that would be the other one that I wouldn't mind taking field goals, especially Chris Boswell at home. He's almost automatic at home.
Yeah. Steelers at home, they're actually not the favorites. Baltimore on the road, 3.5. The line on the total is 41.5. Mark, how do you see this game playing out?
Ugly, right? I think it's just going to be ugly. And I think so much depends on which Lamar Jackson, which Derrick Henry shows up. And really, can the Baltimore Ravens find a way to corral Aaron Rodgers? And that sounds so stupid to be saying about Aaron Rodgers, but it's true. He's found a way. To his credit, he has found a way all season to win games and to make Pittsburgh a little bit better and play above where they should be playing.
Well, we're going to see overall in that game. And then the last thing that I see on here, Houston can win the division. Is there any chance, Robbie, that we see Houston win and Jacksonville lose and Houston then takes the division in this game?
I don't think so. You're asking the Titans to beat the Jaguars. I don't see that happening. Houston's playing the Colts with Riley Leonard, who I think could be a downgrade from Phillip Rivers after the way Phillip has been playing. So I don't think Houston's going to lose either. No, I don't think Houston's going to get the number 1 seed.
Mark, you agree?
I absolutely agree. And I think that what's important for people to especially listen, this is the last week of the NFL, right? And we're talking about the Tennessee Titans, and Jacksonville's at home. All they have to do is win against the Titans. Okay. There are 4 teams that have already come out and officially said, we will be resting our starters. So you need to know this going in. The Green Bay Packers, Buffalo Bills, my Chargers, who will probably win the Super Bowl, and the Eagles will all be resting their starters. Now, what does that mean? How much playing time will they get, if they get any? I don't know. But you can expect that it probably won't be anything beyond the first quarter with those. So that's something to keep in mind. And you got the Raiders and Giants who are just trying to tank. It makes looking at this week all sorts of crazy, because now you have to factor in who's already checked out.
That's very important. I like that. I'm glad you add that in, because that is important to watch. And the whole reason I stayed away from field goals is because I'm like, I don't even know who's playing. Do they even care? Are we going to try something like, hey, let's try out this 2-point conversion play we've been working on all week just to see if it works? Like, no, this is stupid. I'm staying away as far as I can, except for a couple plays. But I have my plays on Saturday. I see both of you have a play on mine on Sunday. See both of you have a play on Saturday. So, Rob, I'm going to start with you. What you got for a Saturday? Whoop.
Well, that's Robbie.
Yeah, fortunately,
I don't have his notes.
Left. Nope, that's still me.
There we go. Look, I know we just bashed the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but somebody we're not going to bash on this show is Chris Godwin to get 4+ receptions at -122. Look, since Mike Evans has came back, he has cashed this in 4 straight. Actually, without Mike Evans, he's cashed this in 4 straight. And looking back at the history when he's on the same field with Mike, he's cashed this in 10 out of 10 games. Now, the Panthers, they have a lot to play for. They want to win this game, so they don't have to worry about what New Orleans does on Sunday. I think the Panthers still win, but I love Chris Godwin to get 4+ receptions. He's had 5+ receptions in 5 of his last 6 against Carolina, averaging 5.5 in that run. So we just need him to get 4 in this one. Second play, we are going to go to that San Francisco game, and I'm taking my favorite for the San Francisco 49ers, my former Florida Gator, Demarcus Robinson, to get 13+ receiving yards at -115. He's been sneakily cashing this in the last 3 games. He has actually dominated Seattle. When you look back at last year, I know he was on the Rams, but he went off against the Seahawks. He even had 2 touchdowns in their 3 games last season. We're asking him to get 13 yards. I think we can get 13 yards from Demarcus Robinson. It's a great price at -115. I found this at Hard Rock. Some books don't even have his props up there, but I did find this at Hard Rock, and I think BetMGM has this as well. But yeah, take these 2 wide receivers and cash these tickets Saturday night.
Oh, that's me. Listen, we just talked about it, right? I've taken the Seahawks. That's right. Fly, Seahawks, fly. Yes, I know that's not how it goes. Here's why. There is so much writing on this game. I think Seattle, yes, I know about Darnold seeing ghosts. I know all of that. I also know that the San Francisco 49er defense hasn't been able to slow anybody down. And yes, they can put up points, but I do think that this is going to come down to the defenses. And I trust the Seahawks defense more than the 49ers defense. Give me the Seahawks to win the division on the road and get that first week bye.
All right, we're going to see how that game plays out. But, boys, before we get to our Sunday questions, because we're going to go ahead and speed this along a little bit, I got a trivia question. So the rule is you're not allowed to answer if you have seen this put out somewhere, because that's cheating. You didn't know that you're cheating, but you could be cheating. But if you are not aware of this, and this is coming off the dome, and just like the chat, if you already know, you can't share. And if you Google it, you're just going to be kicked out from the entire Weekday Wagers YouTube channel. I don't know how it's going to happen, but it does happen. I did it earlier and it kicked me out. But go ahead and play along as well. But I do have a question before we get to our Sunday plays. And we're going to have our commercial here in a second while you think. But Bo Jackson, everybody know who Bo Jackson is? Pretty decent NFL rusher, right? Pretty good guy, pretty good player.
Oh, you mean Bo Jackson, the NFL rusher, the outfielder for baseball?
Yep, that guy.
Yep.
He had 2,782 rush yards. Okay. Well, there is a current NFL coach who has more rush yards than he does. Can you name that NFL coach who ended up with 2,787? So he has 5 more rushing yards than Bo Jackson. We'll be right back.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Seabass, the only 5-star chef in the game. We all know sports betting is full of bad beats and tough calls, but when it comes to flavor, there's no second guessing. Bassett's Blends is the plus EV lock of every meal. We don't need a stinking model. Crafted with winning spices and bold taste, Bassett's Blends comes in 3 flavors, original, hot, and no salt, that's going to turn chicken, steak, vegetables, any dish into a can't-miss cover every night. With Bassett's Blends, there's no bad beats, no flavor fades, just guaranteed greatness. Check out the link right here where you can pick up your Bassett's Blends for a guaranteed lock every single night.
All right, there has been a question and has been a head coach, current NFL head coach right now, not assistant, current NFL head coach. Nate G says Eddie George. Eddie George is not a coach in the NFL, so not him. He would have more. Anybody want to take a guess?
Go for it, Mark.
I don't have the first clue.
No.
Dan Campbell.
Hard. Dan Campbell, tight end. No, did not have very many rushing yards. All right, we're going to keep this thing going. We'll see if y'all can decide and somebody can come up with the right answer. I'll give it to you a little bit later in the show, maybe after the saloon shot if nobody's figured it out or Googled it by then. But let's go ahead and go to our Sunday plays. And I'm going to start us off first on this one. I'm going to go, speaking of the Titans, we're going to go Tony Pollard. We're going to go over the 65.5 rush yards. It's at -115. I found this one on Fanatics. He has 66 plus rush yards in each of the last 4 games. He has, over those 4 games, 452 rush yards, which is an average of 113. He has 512 over the last 5 games. The reason I bring the 5th game into that is because he played against the Jags, who he accumulated 60 rush yards. The only reason I share any of this is because Mr. Tony Pollard can get an extra $250,000 if he gets 66 or more rush yards. And so because of that, incentive laden, I'm going to go with Tony Pollard to get a 66 rush yards. And then Hollywood Brown, he has another $250,000 incentive for a touchdown. He's playing the Raiders. The Raiders suck. They have nothing to play for. Kansas City, nothing to play for. Why would you put Xavier Worthy out there to get hurt? Rashee Rice has already been shut down. There's a lot that's not going to happen on the field, and that's because it's literally going to be a boring game. I think Hollywood Brown can score a touchdown because he needs to. The backup, the third-string quarterback, is going to throw one out for him, especially early in this game. All right, let's go to Mark here on his last Sunday.
Look, we've already talked about it, and I am taking the New York Jets plus the 8 points. Yes, New York doesn't have anything to play for, but the Bills aren't going to be playing their starters after the first series. Josh Allen comes out, and to be honest, the Bills' offense without Josh Allen just is not an NFL offense. They haven't found a way to make them to get the ball to move and to put points on the board. I think the Jets, especially with the bragging rights, the rivalry between the Jets and the Bills, is enough of a motivation for the Jets here in this spot at home to close out the season with a win at home. And I think, DG, am I close?
I think you're close, Mark. It is Jim Harbaugh. Who would have thought? I had no idea. Jim Harbaugh had 2,787 rush yards in his career. And even Joe thinks that I am wrong. Google it. Google me, but then Google it. You won't find much on me, but Google it. But yes, Jim Harbaugh had 2,787 rush yards. Is that it, Robbie? Interesting fact, right?
Very, very interesting fact. I was trying to think of coaches that are in somewhat decent shape and just try to factor in what positions they played. But was he a quarterback?
Yes.
Okay.
But that's why it's a little tricky, because it was rush yards, but also which quarterbacks played? Not many, right? Which coaches played? Not many of those guys play.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking you're running quarterbacks. I'm thinking, well, Warren Moon's not in the NFL. Randall Cunningham's not in the NFL. That was the last guy. Montana and Young aren't coaching, so I would not have picked that.
McNabb. Donovan McNabb.
Yes.
A great rushing quarterback. Also a Syracuse alumni.
Yeah.
But
how many Super Bowls did he win?
We threw up in one, I believe.
He did.
That is true. Hey, listen, big stage. Big stage.
Very big stage. Speaking of a big stage.
T.O. played on the broken freaking leg in that game.
So, Larry says, so it wasn't Mike McDaniel. No, he's out immediately. I don't know if he's ever even played football, maybe at a younger age, whatever, but he hasn't done much. But it's that time of the show, everybody's favorite. It is the saloon. So it's time to shoot your shot. Everybody's already doing it. Go ahead and do it too. All right, it is the saloon, and we want to see, obviously, Kim's got her 4. Me, I have mine. Robbie has his. There's people in the chat that have them. Still no Mark. And it is week 18, Mark. I don't know what you're going to do, brother, but it ain't going to be getting in because we all know how your saloon shots come up a little short. Let's go ahead and go to these plays, and Rob, you'll go first here. What you got, sir?
Yeah, I'm taking Jawan Jennings, AB's favorite player. If you know, you know. He scored first in 2 of his last 5 games, and he's seeing a 37.5% red zone target share. Give me Jawan Jennings.
Well, I've already told you about the Jet. His family calls him Jet, so a Jet Force. This is what we're getting with Hollywood Brown here. First touchdown, playing for Kansas City. Not much left to play for. This guy needs an extra 250. I think you throw it up to him, especially early in this game. See if we can get one. He catches it, cash it, plus 1,400. Mark?
Look, I am going with Stranger Things. Why? First of all, we just covered that on Thursday because that was a great series, great finale. And it's going to take some pretty strange things for me to apparently get into this damn saloon. Brenton Strange, first TD. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they have scored the first touchdown in a game in 7 of the last 10 games. Has Brenton Strange had anything to do with that? No. What? That's why he's going to have something to do with it this week, because that would be strange. Give me Brenton Strange.
I like it. All right. Well, let's go to what we got over here in the comments. And I see some people have it. Nate G's shooting his shot. This is the big one. Mike McDaniel, 2,000 rush yards. I don't know if that one's it.
I like it. I'll back that with you.
It'd be $1 billion, plus $1 billion. All right, let's go through these. And if you see them, let me know. I see that Tony Metzger, who has already been in the saloon, Mark Andrews' first touchdown at plus 1,000. Robbie, a good look?
Yeah, absolutely. I hate betting on Mark Andrews because he usually does nothing. I think, didn't Tony get into the saloon or something with Mark Andrews 2+ touchdowns the week he set him in fantasy this season?
I believe it was just 2+ just regular touchdowns, I believe.
Gotcha.
Was it 2+ or was it the last touchdown? He also gave us a last touchdown play, didn't he?
That I don't know.
Yeah.
I just know it was Tony and it was Mark Andrews. Somehow he got it.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to this one. Miss Kim. She's going with Chris Godwin, Christian McCaffrey, and Brock Purdy. Anytime touchdown plus 29.62. She's boosted it up herself to 37.02. This is a good look.
So shocky.
So shocky. The Brock Purdy one's a little worrisome for me. I think that he has a chance, but obviously that's the chalkiest. I mean, that's the hardest one I would assume to get in, because Christian McCaffrey should get in. Chris Godwin has been really good, especially last week he was too as well. So we'll see. And then Sky Too Hot, he's got a couple. He's got Seahawks Niners, the game to go to overtime plus 1,300. He also did the Bucks and Panthers go to overtime plus 1,300, which is, I just don't know how you can. I don't know. That's tough for me. Any suggestions?
No. I got nothing on that.
All right. So Tony said he did. I just had it and I just completely. Did I just delete it? Or where did that go? Here it is.
With Andrews, 2 touchdowns.
Yep. So he did. Andrews 2 touchdowns. So all right. So we'll see. But yes, Scotty does have a few in here. But I didn't see Joe put any in. Anybody else have Joe put anything in?
You know what though? I don't know that Joe has put in any saloon shot after he got in. And you almost have to respect it. Like, look, I did my thing. I'm in.
If I didn't have to have one for the show, I probably wouldn't either. So I respect it.
See?
Guys who've been in, we really don't have to put another one in.
Mark doesn't know about that.
I hate this.
He doesn't know about the inside jokes and the
inside
discussions that we have. He's never heard it. All right. Well, that's all we got today on the show. It is 10-7 right now. Texas State is over Rice. Barn burner. A big one. But the last thing I want to hit on is what the thumbnail shows, and that is the Winter Classic. We have not talked about any hockey besides the plays that we had. I saw, I guess Robbie has one. I believe Mark, you have a play. Anyway, either way, the Winter Classic, really cool in Miami. From my understanding, they made, like you would like air condition the building, whatever. I believe they made it really cold. Is that correct?
Correct. And I think too, it's been in the low 50s, I think, at night. And they've had Winter Classics in similar weather if it's in like the low 50s. So they know what they're doing. I think they know what they're doing with the Winter Classic more than they do with Milan and for the Olympics going on. That's a whole other conversation with that ring. But I think it'll be all right.
All right, Mark, do you like that it's in Miami?
I first of all, I love that it's in Miami.
Okay.
I think what we have to watch for, and it's a great live betting opportunity, because what happens is the ice starts to melt and you start to get really sloppy with all the shavings coming up. It starts to melt. They can always go over it with the Zamboni, refreeze it, and get everything cold again when the period starts. But you get into that second half of any sort of period, and it's going to get super, super sloppy. The puck actually starts to slow down a little bit. It's not sliding on the ice. It's having to push through water. That's when you get some really hard shots, and scoring actually goes up in those sloppy conditions.
Really?
Yeah.
I would not have thought that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
I'm fully invested in Florida. So if Florida doesn't show up. It's the Rangers. I've been on this show before, and I said they're dead to me. They're never going to be on my list again as a bet. So the Rangers are dead, and I hope Florida puts the nail in their coffin tonight. This should have been Tampa Bay. You should have had two Florida teams that hate each other, because it would have been like the Four Nations. They would have been fighting more than they would have been playing hockey. You wouldn't have to worry about the ice because they'd all be in the penalty box. But we got the dud-ass Rangers that don't even have half their team there. JT Miller's out. I hate the Rangers. I hope Florida mauls them, and I hope all my guys I pick for points and goals get on it.
DG, it took exactly 56 minutes, but damn it, Robbie finally showed up.
Friday Robbie is here. It took a little bit, but we're here. I had no idea about.
I was lagging at the beginning.
Yeah, I had no idea about the with the way that, obviously I know the way the ice works and everything, but I had no idea that it actually would benefit them, because my thought is, all right, instead of making it full 20s after 10, give them, a few minutes, maybe add another Zamboni, try to see if you can go over a little bit quicker, make it an extended timeout, do something, whatever fun for the fans. That way it keeps it safe. But you're saying like it's still safe. It just, I guess, helps the players. Is that what you're saying? Like it helps them be able to shoot better? I don't know.
So what happens, and we've seen it happen a couple times already. In Chicago last year, they had the rain issue. And so the rain, it wasn't actually snowing. It was raining in Chicago, if you can believe it at this point. And it was actually creating puddles on the ice. That hampered scoring because it stopped. Everybody got sluggish. I mean, it's tough to skate, ice skates on water. But when you get just the shavings that start to melt, and it doesn't, just a little bit of a slop ice on that surface, the puck slows down and shooters can rear back and just time that thing, and they're firing rockets. And that actually increases scoring because the puck comes up off the ice. They don't have to slide it across. Yeah.
Wow. Who knew? All right. Well, you learn something new every day. But that will be the only intelligent conversations that we pretty much had today, because the rest of them, not so much. But we've had fun. It's been a good day. But for Robbie and Mark, I'm DG. Thank you all for making us a part of your day, and hopefully we are the best part of your day. We'll be back here. I believe there is a Sunday night game, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Sunday
night halftime. We'll be there.
Yeah, it'll be our last. I believe it's the last Sunday night game. We'll figure out the playoffs and how that goes. But we're also going to do a live watch along for college football. And so there's going to be some stuff that we're going to evolve into over time. And so kind of just stay tuned for all of that. But that's all we got today. Hopefully everybody has a great rest of your weekend. Hopefully the NFL doesn't suck. We need to have some good games this Sunday, but we'll see you all then.